All right, everybody, we're here again. Again, we're focusing on open guard and specifically the seated guard position. Again, the main thing that we're trying to explain though is that we're splitting jiu-jitsu into certain components to make it clear, all right, what your goal is in these scenarios. We're focusing on guard, so right now we've split jiu-jitsu into the top position, the bottom position. The top player, all right, looking at getting past the legs and attacking from there. The bottom player, understanding how to grip the body, is to attach as much control as possible to your opponent, and then with that control, notice which attacking options are the best option. The main thing that we're going to do also with the bottom players, we're going to split jiu-jitsu into two main components in terms of guarded player. We're going to split, all right, our gripping portions of the body into the lower body and the upper body, from the waist down, the lower body, from the waist up, the upper body. Generally, that's dictated by his posture. And there's two main ways he's going to present: in a standing position with high shoulders, or in a crouched position with his arms in front of his legs, or a kneeling position. Even though there's three different postures, there's only two places we can grip: the upper body or the lower body. And based on his posture, I have to grip one of those areas. And when I do, it dictates my attacks. Again, if he's in that standing position and I find good access to his legs, normally I have higher success with pushing him off balance by forcing him towards his back, him falling over, me completing a sweep. Or forcing him towards his face, making him post his hands on the mat, climbing up onto his back and securing a back take. If instead he's in a crouching position, all right, or a kneeling position, and I find good control of his arms, I'm normally going to have higher success climbing on his upper body in some way and finding some form of submission attack. Okay, and then completing that submission, because normally, again, the closer I climb to the grips that I had already, the more likely I'm going to use a really powerful part of my body against a not so powerful part of his. So generally, again, if we apply those ideas, we're going to have more success with whatever goal we're applying or looking for or seeking out. Again, we're focusing on the seated open guard, and we're going to use our opponent in a standing position from that seated control to find some leg attacks and submissions at the moment. So again, we're going to start here in a seated guard, and what we're going to use is actually the arm and the leg to create a calf crush or calf compression, calf slicer type attack here. Right? It's actually a fairly tricky attack, and normally we find if we don't have much weight on this front leg, it becomes pretty easy. So a lot of the time when I start pulling on this leg and he starts to get away from me and he puts his weight in that direction, this leg's kind of light, and now I'm going to enter a control here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to square up my bum in front of his shin here. All right, I go one and I clamp on my leg. At the same time, I need to throw my leg over his hip here. And I grab on my thigh. Now that my leg's here across his hip, what I'm going to do is I'm going to compress him with my secondary leg. Right? It's super important that my arm is super tight, and also what I want to have with my arm is my thumb facing my hip. A really common issue here, turn that way, all right, is that we have our thumb on our stomach, and then what happens is our arm goes flat, all right, inside his leg, and we don't have much pressure on his calf or hamstring. But if I keep my wrist rotated this way, and it's now pressing into the calf long ways, we have a much sharper, less comfortable situation on his hamstring and his calf. And now all I'm going to do is lock my secondary leg, and I'm going to start compressing my like squeezing my forearm on my bicep and contracting my hamstring, finishing a very tight calf crush, knee compression. Now, sometimes you have the guy tapping from pain, but you can also cause so much compression and pressure in the knee joint, you have damage and tearing happening by putting too much pressure on that knee joint, all right, with that forearm behind the back of his leg, okay, finishing again a very powerful leg attack from, you know, more of a kind of sneaky attack here that it doesn't really seem too threatening, and then out of nowhere we have a tight submission on that we could use to finish the submission or take him off balance and get to another control.